Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd just go live today for a little while and talk about my Criterion collection. And I may be making maybe more of a formal video on this or more of a standalone video on this at some point. But I thought I would talk about a little bit anyway how I got started collecting Criterion. Some of my first Criterions that I've started to collect. So I've got a stack of these here. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. That would be great. I'm going on a little bit later than I usually go on a Sunday, but I thought it would be kind of interesting to kind of show some of my collection and how I got started. So let me. I'm also testing the comments here, and my wife is on, and she's asked me to be a little bit louder, so I will be a little bit louder here. And thanks for that comment. And I tested the comments out, which is kind of cool. So it's the first time I started to really do that with StreamYard. So I'm going to talk about my collection, but feel free to, if you're in the chat, you can ask me any questions. Hey, Richard, how's it going there? Thanks for joining me today. I'm talking a little bit about my Criterion collection and how I started collecting Criterions. And I've got a stack here of some of the first ones I picked up. So if you're a collector, you know that, well, for me anyway, I know that I love special features, and I think that's what first drew me to the Criterion Collection, because it's one of the labels, one of the boutiques that has great special features. And this is one of the first ones I picked up. This is Bergman Island, and this is a DVD. A lot of these I'm going to show you today are DVDs because that's how I started. This happens to be spine number 477. Hey, Nathan, how's it going? Thanks for joining me today. I'm just talking about my Criterion Collection as usual. But this is Bergman Island. This also comes in the Bergman, the box set, that mammoth box set that a lot of people have. There's the back of that one. Cooper Clever, hello. How are you? Very good to see you here today. I'm on a little bit later than usual, but so this one is spine number 477. This happens to be a documentary about Ingmar Bergman on the island. On his island, and he had a specific schedule that he followed near the end of his life, where he would get up in the morning and take a walk, and then spend some time writing, and then he had his own theater on the island, as I understand too. So I was really drawn to Bergman. This, I think, is one of the first films that really drew me to Ingmar Bergman, and there's the inside of that one. This is really great, and again, it's on the box set. And it pretty much talks about his routines. The interviewer spends a lot of time with him, showing parts of his house and kind of following him along with in his routine during the day, going to see movies. A lot of the introductions that you see to some of the Bergman films on the box set also, it seemed like, were filmed during this. Cooper Clever, have you gotten into the Bergman box set yet? You have to really get in there. It's really good, and I highly recommend watching the Bergman set in curated order. There's a specific reason that Criterion put it together in that order. So I highly recommend watching it that way. Which one of the Bergman films have you seen, Cooper Clever? So I'm experimenting with these comments today too in StreamYard. So let me know which one you started with, why you started with it. Have you seen maybe the popular ones like Wild Strawberries or The Seventh Seal? Anyway, this is a great one. This is one of the ones I picked up early on in my collection, and really drew me to Bergman, and it's a great DVD to pick up also. Nathan, still a third of the way through the curated order. You're going to be continuing that soon enough. Good to know. Do you have any favorites so far? Let me know. It's just an amazing set. Oh, the Fellini set, the Nihilist, also the Fellini set, very good. And you're going to start it today, which is awesome. Yeah. Cooper Clever, and again, I'm showing some of these comments here too. I've seen a lot of the Bergman's films. I had a lot of his films on Criterion before I bought the box set. Yeah, see, I didn't have too many of them. I had The Seventh Seal was one of the ones that I had, and so it was nice to, pick up everything, which is kind of what I did with Fellini. Also, I only had 8.5, so it was good to pick up the whole set, and then you have most of the movies. Great. So thanks for all the great comments here too. One of the next ones I picked up is again, most of these are DVDs today, is this movie, Robert Altman, Shortcuts. There's a little glare today here too. This is a really great movie based on Raymond Carver short stories, and it's a DVD, and one of the first ones I picked up, and I was a big fan of Robert Altman and had seen The Player as an example, but this one has a ton of extra features on it. This one happens to be 2 discs, and it's spine number 265. And I'll read a few of the extra features here. Restored high definition transfer on disc 1, video conversations between Altman and Tim Robbins. Nathan really enjoyed Summer with Monica, Wild Strawberries, which you've seen a lot of times, which I have too, and Scenes from a Marriage. Now, Scenes from a Marriage is really intense. I feel like it's a great, I watched the, I think the 5-hour television version. So I don't know if you watched that one or the theatrical version, but the 5-hour television version is just amazing. I think it really, it kind of ruined that new movie Marriage Story for me, because as much as I am a fan of Noah Baumbach, I was a huge fan of Scenes from a Marriage. It's hard to watch A Marriage Story and realize that he obviously liked that movie as well. And I feel like Scenes from a Marriage is so much better, but also a good film. So on disc 2, we have Luck, Trust, and Ketchup, Robert Altman in Carver Country, a feature-length documentary on the making of Shortcuts. To Write and Keep Kind, a PBS documentary on the life of Raymond Carver. Again, these are based on Raymond Carver short stories. Segment from BBC Television's Moving Pictures, tracing the screenplay's development. A 1-hour 1983 audio interview with Carver conducted by the American Audio Pros Library. Original demo recordings of the Doc Pomus Mac Rebenak songs performed by Dr. John, deleted scenes, and a look inside the making of Shortcuts. So this one in particular, I really liked, again, because these were, in the beginning anyway, some of the only films that I found anyway that had special features on them. And so that's what really drew me to the Criterion Collection in the beginning. So if you're starting off your collection and you're interested in special features, most, if not all of these releases have special features on them. So Kubrick Glover. I'm going to highlight your comment here too. The Player and 3 Women. Nashville also was really great. You got it for free or a little money at the library. Wow, that's great. That is really good. Amazing. Then Nathan, you've only seen the TV version, right? But you're going to watch the movie next. Yeah, the TV version is just great of that. Summer with Monica and Wild Strawberries. Yes, amazing films. All amazing films for sure. So this one I think has a Blu-ray release already too, but I've kept the DVD. Some of these I have not upgraded. But again, the DVD is great. So that's that one. I've talked about this next one on the channel before too, and I'm such a huge fan of it. And it's probably the first one that I got. I did another video where I talked about the first Criterions I picked up, and this one is really good. It happens to be on the Criterion channel right now, Fishing with John Lurie from the Lounge Lizards, he also worked with Jim Jarmusch quite a bit in movies like Down by Law, as an example. But this is really great, and one of the ones I picked up, and I had seen I think I had seen the film somewhere, and I was so surprised that it came out on DVD and it has extra features. This has all 6 complete episodes. Now on the Criterion channel, this happens to be segmented into the episodes, and they're basically episodes where John Lurie goes fishing with people like Jim Jarmusch and Matt Dillon and Tom Waits and a few other folks too. Willem Dafoe also. So this has a commentary by the writer-director John Lurie, Big Heart music video by John Lurie and the Lounge Lizards, and this is really great. And again, it's on the Criterion channel this time around. There's quite a few. The content on the Criterion channel seems to rotate, but this I've noticed has remained for quite a while. So if you get a chance and you have the Criterion channel, you can watch this one. John Lurie also has a great new series, which I've talked about a little bit on the channel, called Painting with John, which is on HBO now too. And it's basically John Lurie on a Caribbean island, showing you conversations with him while he's painting things in many cases. So Kubrick Glover said you had the Criterion channel until June of last year, but you stopped it for now. Yeah, I did that before, but then I picked it up again, and I'm really happy that I did, because they really rotate a lot of content, which is really amazing. You have lots of movies that you own, you have to watch, including a lot of the Criterions. Yeah, sometimes also you want to maybe cancel a streaming service so you can catch up on your physical media, which is a good thing to do too sometimes. But I love it. I must watch it once a day at least. If I'm not watching a full movie, I'll watch an interview from time to time, that kind of thing. So this is a great one though, and I don't know if there's a Blu-ray of this one, but I have the DVD. You can see too, it's got the old, not even the Criterion C up here. It just has the Criterion Collection without even a C. I don't even think there's a C on this. But this happens to be number 42, Criterion Collection number 42. The next one I have here too, I've got a stack of that. Well, I have a box set here too, which I'll show in a minute. This next one was one of the first ones I picked up also, and it happens to be Elia Kazan's On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando. One of my favorite movies of all time, and I was so happy to see this package. This happens to be spine number 647. It's a movie from 1954, black and white, of course. It's a 2-disc Blu-ray with special edition features on it, and I'll read a few of those as well. Cooper Glover, you've been working on your Bruce Lee box set, and you're working on finishing that. I did pick up the Bruce Lee box set, and I still need to do some work on that for sure, and watch a lot of those movies. Well, yeah, you really have to spend some time and really look at the box sets and really work your way through those. It can really take a long time. Hey, Rob, how's it going? It's probably pretty late for you over there, but thanks for joining me today. I'm just doing this quick video to kind of talk about how I got started with the Criterion Collection, showing some of my first Criterions that I picked up. I totally agree. Cooper Glover, Marlon Brando, one of my favorite actors. Anyway, this is a great release. This is really good. This is still available, I believe, too. This has an audio commentary by authors Richard Schickel and Jeff Young. New conversation between the filmmaker Martin Scorsese and between filmmaker Martin Scorsese and critic Kent Jones. Elia Kazan, an Outsider, 1982, an hour-long documentary. This has a lot of information on Elia Kazan, of course, too. New documentary on the making of the film, featuring interviews with scholar Leo Braudy, critic David Thompson, and others. A new interview with actor Eva Marie Saint. Interview with Kazan from 2001. Oh, that's cool, Nathan. Yeah. Also, this is one of my first ones for sure, which I was really excited to pick up. Contender, Mastering the Method, a 2001 documentary on the film's most famous scene. A new interview with longshoreman Thomas Hanley, an actor in the film. A new interview with author James T. Fisher about the real-life people and places behind the film, and a visual essay. That's just on disc 1. Disc 2 has alternate presentations of the restoration of 2 additional aspect ratios in the film. And there's a booklet here, too. I'm just going to open this up. Yeah, so there's some great artwork. You can see some of the same from the front of the package, and then the back there. This also has a booklet in it, but I'll just show the 2 discs there, which are really great. And then this booklet with Brando on the front. But what an amazing film this is, and so much to study in this movie. I think one of Brando's finest roles for sure. And this has some essays in it and things like that. So really great. Criterion's great about adding these booklets as well. Some of the best booklets, I think, of a label that you can get. And they just keep improving as we go. So that's a really good addition to get if you get a chance to get it. Again, spine number 647. And that happens to be a Blu-ray too. Damn Fool, Idealistic Crusader, welcome. You said Waterfront was the first one you picked up. So happy to get the 3 aspect ratio presentations. That's cool. That's great. Yeah, what a great release that is. And again, I think it seems like it's a release that many of us picked up for the first time. I don't know if that was one of the, since it's a later spine number, well, 647, the Criterion Collection was going for a while by then, but welcome. The next thing I'm going to show too is this is one of the first box sets I picked up. So I'm going to kind of go through this box set a little bit, and it's a beautiful box set. I picked it up in Los Angeles. I was trading in some old CDs, and I happened to pick it up at this place called Amoeba Records. If anybody has been to an Amoeba Records, they're just reopening up, I think, a location in Los Angeles, but they have a location, I think, in San Francisco and maybe New York. I'm not sure. Elvin, hello. Welcome. Again, I'm talking about some of the first Criterions that I picked up, but feel free to ask me any questions in the comments too. I'm happy to answer any questions. I was putting together my Q&A for April, so I'm going to be answering some questions there. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. That would be great. So this is the one I'm talking about. This happens to be the BBS story, America Lost and Found. If anyone has this box set. And there's the individual movies. I'm going to pull each of these out so you can kind of see what these look like. Here's the back of that one. Lots of extra features on this one. This is a great box set, and it has so many wonderful movies in it. Each of these too, I noticed with Criterion, sometimes with the box sets, they have one spine number for the entire set. And this one happens to have individual spine numbers, which are 544 through 550. And the movies on here are Head, which is a movie with the monkeys. Easy Rider, directed by Dennis Hopper from 1969. 5 Easy Pieces from 1970. Drive, he said. These are, Drive, he said, was directed by Jack Nicholson. Cooper Glover, do you have any favorites in this particular set? A Safe Place from 1971. The Last Picture Show, Peter Bogdanovich, what an amazing film that is, from 1971. And The King of Marvin Gardens, 1972. Again, Jack Nicholson in quite a few of these. This also has on it lots of extra features, and I'm just going to pull out one of these here too. I think this will show each of the extra features on each of the discs, but this happens to be the Bob Rafelson movie Head, which is it's a movie featuring the monkeys, which I was a big fan of the monkeys when I was a kid. And so this is great to see. This has an audio commentary on it featuring the monkeys, a new video interview with the director, new documentary about BBS featuring critic David Thompson and historian Douglas Brinkley. Screen test with the monkeys, very fun. Easy Rider, The Last Picture Show, 5 Easy Pieces, and King of Marvin Gardens. Yeah, Easy Rider is a classic. You really have to watch that one. That's absolutely a classic. The Last Picture Show, which I really enjoy. 5 Easy Pieces, that famous scene with Jack Nicholson in the diner, just amazing. Let's see the next one here. Here's Easy Rider. I love the artwork on this box set as well. It's really great. From 1969. Again, individual spine number 545. This has 2 audio commentaries on it, one featuring actor and director, writer Dennis Hopper, the other actor writer Peter Fonda, of course, and production manager Paul Lewis. You said not really a fan of the other films. Some of these films I find grow on you, after you watch them, and so. But I'm totally with you on that. Sometimes you watch a film, or maybe you're not a fan of everything in the box set for sure. That makes sense. Nathan, you did a deep dive during last summer, which is awesome. Yeah, I love doing these kind of deep dives in the box sets, right? I mean, if you haven't seen it before, Nathan has a great channel on YouTube also, and he and I did a video on the Cassavetes box set, so you can check those videos out. I think there's 2 videos on my channel, and there's a video on his channel as well, talking about those films, which is another great box set from the Criterion Collection, for sure. Let's see. This has Born to be Wild, 1995, and Easy Rider, Shaking the Cage, 1999. Documentaries about the making and history of the film. Television excerpts showing Hopper and Fonda at the Cannes Film Festival. I don't know if anybody's planning to see the Oscars. I was hoping to maybe talk a little bit about the Oscars today too. But if you have any great Oscar picks, I've seen a few of the movies, but I think the Oscars are next week. So I do. I have the Road Trilogy. Question from the Nihilist. I have the Road Trilogy box set. Highly recommend it. It's really good. Those movies are amazing as well. Of course, Wim Wenders, one of my favorites. Paris, Texas is just an amazing film. If you haven't seen that, one of my favorites. Harry Dean Stanton also. which is just a great film. Kubrick Glover, there's a really a good documentary on the cinematographer of Easy Rider who escaped Hungary together, where the communists occupied the country. Wow, cool. Very cool. So that's Easy Rider. There's Easy Rider. The next one is Five Easy Pieces, one of my favorites. Jack Nicholson. I think this was the beginning of the movie where he's playing piano on the truck, which is pretty amazing. Of course, I love the diner scene where he's ordering. I really have to see the movie for that, but it's really great. This has a audio commentary featuring director Bob Rafelson and interior designer Tony Rafelson. Soul Searching in Five Easy Pieces, a 2009 video piece with Bob Rafelson. The BB Story, a 2009 documentary about the BBS era with Rafelson, Jack Nicholson, Karen Black, and Ellen Burstyn. Directors Peter Bogdanovich and Henry Jaglom, among others. Audio excerpts from a 1976 AFI interview with Rafelson as well. So there's the front of Easy Rider. Again, these are all in the box set, of course, the back of that one. And this is Drive, he said. And there's the back of that one. This has more audio commentaries, Cautionary Tale of Campus Revolution and Sexual Freedom, 2009 video pieces featuring the directors, 1971 interview with Jaglom and director Peter Bogdanovich. The diner scene is classic. Yes, of course. Classic dialogue. I just loved Jack Nicholson around this period in his career, early in his career, of course, right? So that's Drive, he said. And then let's see, The Last Picture Show, one of my favorites. This is also really great. 1971, spy number 549. There's The Last Picture Show. Well, I just love the artwork on these box set or on any of these releases. Really, really, really great. This has the two audio commentaries featuring Bogdanovich and actors Sybil Shepherd, Randy Quaid, Cloris Leachman, and Frank Marshall. The Bogdanovich, The Last Picture Show, A Look Back, and Picture This documentary is about the making of the film. Screen tests, which are fun to watch, and location footage, excerpts from a 1972 television interview with Francois Truffaut about New Hollywood, and theatrical trailers. Again, packed with extra features, this box set. There's two more films here, too. The King of Marvin Gardens, well, this is from 1972, sorry. 1972, newly restored high-definition digital transfer, selected scene commentary featuring the director, Bob Rafelson, of course, 2009 video piece with Rafelson and actress Ellen Burstyn, who I'm a big fan of Ellen Burstyn, by the way, too. Just she's such an amazing actress. I think she was in Pieces of a Woman, by the way, which is an Oscar contender. One of the films I saw that I highly recommend, Pieces of a Woman. What an amazing performance she gives in that movie, which is very, very serious. It's on Netflix, and if you have Netflix, I highly recommend it. It's a really great movie. Ellen Burstyn in that one. And then finally, there's a booklet here, very large booklet, America Lost and Found, the BBS story. Lots of essays, lots of discussion in here. She was really good. Yes, I totally agree. Kubrick Glover also great in Requiem for a Dream, which is a pretty intense movie. Also, I've only seen it a couple of times, and sometimes it's hard to watch. I feel like that movie is just a drain on me a lot of times, but great movie. Thanks for mentioning that one. Yeah, I like her in. There's a movie. There's an older movie called Resurrection, which I've been looking for, which I saw early on, which I think she's just amazing in. So this booklet has lots of essays and things like that in it. Lots of photographs too. Here's one from The Last Picture Show. So what a great set this is. One of the first sets I picked up is this one, and highly recommend it if you don't have it. So that's that box set, and I've got one more thing to show here, but if there's other questions, let me know. I wanted to just spend a little bit of time and talk about how I got started with Criterion Collection and some of the first releases that I picked up. And again, I might do a formal video on this at some point, but I thought might be a good topic to bring up, or just how to get started with the Criterion Collection. The way to do it is to pick movies that you like, or maybe that you want to explore, because if you have a film that you really enjoy, and maybe you don't have any of the backstory, maybe you don't have any of the special features, you may not even be interested in that. But for me, I was very interested in the making of the film, the documentaries around. I'm a big fan of documentaries as well. So all of these things drew me to the Criterion Collection. And so again, these are some of the first ones I picked up. I will say too, I haven't really, sometimes when it's a little disappointing when releases go out of print. And one of the releases I was searching for a while back was, I think, In Danger of Going Out of Print. I started getting into Chantal Akerman movies, and there's an Eclipse series. Now, Criterion has a number of these Eclipse sets, which you may have seen on the website, and they're all on DVD, and there's quite a few of them. And there was one Eclipse set with some of Chantal Akerman's earlier films that I was really trying to track down. So I ended up calling a few of the stores. Actually, Barnes & Noble has a bookstore in the US here. And so I ended up calling around. This was a couple of years ago, to find this particular set. I think it's probably one of the only times I've ever done that, searching for a movie. Again, I think as collectors, we like to, have these rarities or these favorites in our collection. And so this is one of those that I was really searching for and really calling around to see if I could get. Cooper Glover, you're recommending getaway films like The Seven Samurai, 8.5, or Seven Seal, or I'm sorry, gateway films. I should say gateway films like Seven Samurai, 8.5, or Seven Seal. Yeah, 8.5. I realized later, after seeing Eve It Alone, that 8.5. When I first watched 8.5, I found that it was very confusing for me, because it's, I think, later in Fellini's career. And so, but the first time I saw it, I didn't really get it. And so but the second time I saw it, I was like, this is brilliant. I really enjoyed it. So I think a lot of times too, this is one of the cases where sometimes when you see a film the first time, maybe you don't fully understand what's happening. And the second time I saw it, I just thought it was brilliant. So that is a gateway film for sure. Seven Samurai or Seventh Seal. Now, Seventh Seal also has some universal themes, obviously, from Bergman, but a lot of people, I've heard this anyway, that sometimes people don't like black and white films, or sometimes people don't like films with subtitles. So I feel like those are kind of tough. I think that's why, at least in the beginning, and it's not that I had any concerns with black and white films, but that's why I think I picked a movie like Shortcuts, because I don't have to necessarily worry about the subtitles. Again, I totally love subtitles, and I love those things. And Seven Samurai, I saw when I was, much younger too. So, but those are great suggestions. The Nihilist said you started to blind buy, which is true, a great way to explore things. I found so many classics that way. Sometimes though, I try to mix it up where I maybe will do a new film that I haven't seen, plus some favorites, because sometimes with the blind buys, you may not always get a favorite, or maybe you just don't connect with that film at the time. La Dolce Vita is your personal favorite film. I have to revisit that for sure, because I love 8.5. I think 8.5 is great. Nathan, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And have a great evening and a great week. So I was talking about this search for this Eclipse set. Throne of Blood, also a great Kurosawa film. Yes. Kurosawa, I mean, if you get a chance, I have the Criterion release of Seven Samurai, which is simply amazing. One of the things too is when a lot of these films, well, at least for Seven Samurai, I know the subtitles weren't as good in one of the original releases, but the subtitles are great in the Blu-ray of Seven Samurai. Amarcord is also a great movie. Matthew, thanks for joining us as well. So yeah, I was searching for this. Now, this is maybe not for everyone, but this is Chantal Akerman in the 70s, which I'm so happy I found it. I think there was only one copy at this Barnes & Noble, but this happens to have a movie that I really enjoyed. And again, a lot of these are on the Criterion channel, called News from Home, which is basically Chantal Akerman filming New York in the 70s. Let's see, News from Home was from 1976. This has a lot of her earlier films on it, but News from Home is one of my favorites. Kubrick lover, lots of Kurosawa and Japanese Criterions. Yeah, definitely a lot of Japanese films in the Criterion Collection, which is great. But Chantal Akerman, one of my favorite filmmakers, again, not for everyone perhaps, but I love her meditative, contemplative approach to filmmaking. She really wants you to experience time in her films. And so sometimes when you put one of her movies on, it can be a bit of a challenge, especially those that are interested in a true narrative. But News from Home is great, and one of my favorites. It's basically she's filming New York in the 70s, like I mentioned, and reading letters from that she's receiving from her mom. So this is a great set. Now, one of the things about these Eclipse sets is they don't really have, there isn't really a bottom in them. It's just the DVDs are in here like this, and then you've got a sleeve here. So you got to be careful when you pull them off the shelf because they could potentially fall over. But this is News from Home and La Chambre, which is another short film. I don't think these have as many special features on them, but I'm not really good with French, but Les Rendezvous d'Anna and Je tu il elle is here, this one. So these are some great films, but you can see they have their DVDs, and so in these really thin cases, but they do have a little pamphlet in them. But if you get a chance to pick up some Eclipse sets, I have an Agnes Varda Eclipse set as well. There's a ton of these sets. Yeah, Sardis, I know it's kind of tough. These, you really do have to be in the mood. I really appreciate your comment here too. You really have to be in the mood for these movies. Yeah, I would agree. I think when I first saw some Chantal Akerman, I wasn't really sure what to make of it. And then when I watched News from Home a couple of different times, I really enjoyed it. She has another film too, which is I can't think of the name of it right there. I think it might be called Down There, and she's in an apartment, I think, in Israel, and has the camera pointed at her blinds most of the time, or her windows, and it's a very kind of just almost autobiographical movies where she just has the camera going. But I really enjoy those, and I guess I've really gotten into them over the years. Again, I think with movies in general, you really have to be in the mood for things. Sometimes I'll pick a movie that I've seen many, many times, and I just am not into it at the time, or maybe it doesn't. I can't connect with it as much as I used to. And that's just, people changing and growing. That's the way I feel about it. But yeah, I would agree. Kubrick lover. Yeah, they don't have any special features on them, right? Just notes on each of the cases, right? So. I did see, Matthew, what a great question. I loved her last film. I thought her last film was great. My home movie, or My Home Movie, or Home Movies. I'm not exactly sure the specific title, but I really thought that it was really, really, again, autobiographical. Her mom, she's spending some time with her mom. But I love even like some of the opening scenes. I think one of the opening scenes is of just a tree in the wind, and it's just amazing to see. So I think that movie is great as well. Oh, it's available on Mubi. Okay, Mubi. Okay. Anyway, I was really drawn to her films, and this is one of the things. I don't think I've done this with too many directors or too many releases, but I really searched it out and really tried to find this one. And again, there was only a couple of copies left. I'm sure there's copies available on the internet somewhere, but at least locally, or at least during this particular sale, this was the only one I could find. So Cole, hello. Yeah, if there's any other questions too in the comments, let me know. That's about all I have to show today. But if there's any other questions, let me know. I'm happy to stay on for a little longer and answer some questions. And highly encourage you, if you're just getting into physical media now, maybe this is a good way to do it, especially for the Criterion Collection, or pick a movie that you enjoy, or you can take Kubrick lover's advice too, and pick one of the gateway films, which would be The Seventh Seal. Wild Strawberries, I think, is a gateway film. 8.5, Fellini's 8.5. Those are some of the ones I suppose I would pick, and Seven Samurai. Mr. Sushi, moving you're moving. Oh, really? And all your movies are packed except for 15. How many movies do you have, Mr. Sushi? If you can give a rough count of those. I was trying to think. I need to count all my movies. I have over 250 Criterion right now, which is hardly even a fraction of the collection because there's over 1,000 there. But Fallen Angels, awesome. It's nice to pick a film and decide what you want to watch. I've been watching a lot of 70s. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more on the channel, but I've been watching a lot of 70s films lately. So I was watching recently the Straight Time with Dustin Hoffman and Teresa Russell, which I really enjoyed a lot. I've really been revisiting a lot of the 70s films and really exploring why I like them so much. Hitchcock titles. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Damn Fool, Idealistic Crusader. What a great suggestion that is. Those are such gateway films, and there's so many represented in the Criterion Collection, right? So many, Notorious, the 39 Steps. I'm trying to think of the others, but there's a ton of them. There's a ton of them in there, including the silent movies too, right? The Lodger also is a great one. What a great release that is. Great. That is so true. I completely agree with that. Mr. Sushi, 600. Okay, so you have over 300 Criterion films. Yeah, I'm hoping to get there at some point. I mean, so many people. One of my favorite channels on YouTube, which I'm sure a lot of you this may be one of your favorites, but Daisuke Beppu also has, I think he has every release, right? Which is amazing to see. And I can only aspire to having every release. So Micah the Seeker, Barry Lyndon for the first time. Timothy, hello. Notorious was your first Criterion ever purchased. Wow, that's great. And what a great film that is, right? For that to be the first one. Now didn't that movie, I thought it went out of print, right? And then there was a Blu-ray release, which I was so happy to see, because that's one of those that went out of print and then it was available but only on eBay, very expensive too. So here's a question, the Nihilist again. Thanks for this question. Do you think filmmaking in general today isn't as good as it used to be in the 70s and older? This is an interesting question too, because I do have a lot of films I like, current films too, that I see that I'm really impressed with. So that's a really tough one. I love 70s films. I grew up in the 70s, and so I love 70s films, and I seem to connect to those more than other films. But I'm a big fan of, I think I just talked about too, Pieces of a Woman, which is up for an Oscar. And one of the other ones is The Trial of the Chicago 7, which is also on Netflix, which I really like a lot. So it's really hard to say because I like movies from all the decades, but the 70s I happen to really connect with quite a bit. The DVD was out of print. That's what I thought. The DVD was out of print, and so Criterion, or I'm sorry, Criterion's going to issue Spellbound on Blu-ray. That would be awesome to have. Wow, that'd be great to see. I was happy to see also this last announcement from Criterion that The Mirror, Tarkovsky's The Mirror, is coming out on Blu-ray too, which is or is coming out as a Criterion release, which is really amazing. Micah, do I have Nashville and Days of Heaven? I have Nashville. I do not have Days of Heaven. Matthew, I'm just going through some questions here. Thanks for all these great questions, by the way, too. I really appreciate it. Am I excited for upcoming releases? I think I said I was just talking about that. I hadn't even seen this comment yet, but The Mirror, yeah, I'm super excited about that. Super excited about that one. I love Tarkovsky, by the way, and I did a series of videos on Tarkovsky when I first started to get into his movies, and but just an amazing filmmaker if you get a chance. And again, I think Criterion does a great job of exploring these filmmakers and really presenting them in a way that you could really get into the movies. Oh, Nashville and Days just went out of print. Aren't those the ones that are going to Paramount? Aren't those the ones too where there were a few titles I think that Paramount was taking over, like Rosemary's Baby? I thought was one of those, which came out with a not a very great cover. I didn't feel like, but Rosemary's Baby I think went out of print too. Deep Cover is a hidden gem. The Barnes & Noble sale, I'm so excited for that. Now that's probably going to be in July, right? I would assume. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, the Paramount titles, I think people were getting very concerned about that too, right? Because with Paramount Plus coming out on the streaming service, I think there was lots of concern around that. And I was happy I had a few of the titles. I don't have Rosemary's Baby, but Oh, Bringing Up Baby too is getting Bringing Up Baby. Yes, I am excited about that one too. That's going to be a really great release. Is getting its long overdue Blu-ray release in July. How do you all feel about Criterion going 4K? I know that's a big controversial topic as well, right? They haven't seemed to go. They haven't seemed to. Well, they haven't released any 4K, right? There are some Bresson films on Criterion, and I want to say Pickpocket, I think, is one of the ones that just comes to mind. Pickpocket. Yeah, the fear is that the Paramount titles may be pulled at some point. I think this is happening too with streaming, services as well, where, and I've noticed this in particular lately with, 70s films. I was just watching the other day, I was watching Save the Tiger with Jack Lemmon, if you've seen that movie. Brilliant movie, but it's very hard to get I think that's one of the releases that there's a DVD of it, but it's maybe a little pricey. If I remember, The Gambler with James Caan I was able to pick up, and I really enjoyed that. And that was one of those movies, kind of getting back to my discussion about the decades of film that I like. The Gambler was a movie that I watched all the way through, and then I started it again. I loved it so much. It was really, really good. Paul Sorvino's in that one as well. Mr. Sushi, do you think the De Palma ones are going to go out of print? That's going to be bad if that happens. UHD is an expensive prospect, but now many labels are going 4K. Yeah, if you notice, like labels like Kino Lorber, for example, are going into 4K, right, with the release of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Spaceballs as an example. Kubrick Glover, thanks for mentioning all of the. I can only think of one, Pickpocket. Isn't Diary of a Country Priest out of print? Because that's one that I've wanted to get for a long time, and I think there's only a DVD of it, and it's hard to get. I would say if that is my next quest, is to find a copy of Diary of a Country Priest. So if anyone knows where to get one, let me know, or leave me a comment if you're watching this later. But I think it's available. I could probably get it on eBay for a good price, but I'm so excited, Jared, for the Mirror release. I'm so excited about that. That is great news, right, for Tarkovsky fans. I didn't realize Pickpocket was out of print either, but I thought I just was looking at a copy of that on the Criterion site. But the hardest part is finding a 4K TV you're happy with. That, that's so true. I really, again, appreciate the comment, because there's so much equipment that goes along with these new releases that are coming out too, right? If you want the Fellini set, I would recommend getting it soon. La Dolce Vita is part of the set, and that could go out of print soon too. Yeah, good. That's a good point. I picked up the Fellini set too, and I have it. I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to go through those films. But isn't it? It's. I think that's what drives a lot of the the fear of missing out, because many of these things just go out of print and then they're just gone, right? So. But the other movie I was talking about too is the other 70s movie that I really like is Straight Time with Dustin Hoffman and Teresa Russell. Wow, Teresa Russell, amazing performance in that movie. That's another 70s movie that has a DVD, but that's it. And I think it's a Warner Collection DVD as well. Matthew, yeah, you're right. Maybe all we need is the Fellini set and the Bergman set, and that's all. And that's it. Mr. Sushi, you're happy with your Sony 4K TV, but you spent a lot of money on it. Jared, my favorite Cassavetes film. I did some videos with Nathan Jones on this, and I would say from the box set anyway, I like Opening Night. I think that's my number one my favorite Cassavetes movies. A lot of people like the older movies, and they were definitely revolutionary and just independent all the way. But I really like Opening Night. I really enjoyed it. But I'm a theater fan too, so there's a lot of that in there. Thanks for all the great comments, by the way, too. Wow, just amazing. Yeah, I did a whole live stream on the. I did a series of live streams on Cassavetes, and so that's my. I think I mentioned in there too. Opening Night was my favorite one. So there's some videos on my channel, and there's some videos on Nathan Jones' channel for the 5 films box set, the Cassavetes box set. I haven't, Mr. Sushi, I have not looked at those films yet. You have the Criterion channel, right? I haven't, the Criterion channel is amazing. There's some Marx Brothers films on there right now, which I was, watching. And there's so many great, features on there, but you do have the Criterion. I'm assuming you do have the Criterion channel as well. Thanks for those recommendations, because I'm always looking for things to watch on there. But as I said earlier, I must watch that channel every single day. I'm looking at interviews or watching a part of a film or getting into something. But lately it's been the Marx Brothers. There's a Marx Brothers feature on there too. And I have all the Marx Brothers films too. That's the thing. Great. Well, thanks so much for everyone for being here today. Again, happy to answer any last questions here. And then I'm going to close it up for today. The Kapoor films, I'm going to have to check those out. But thanks for the recommendations there. And thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Again, I wanted to do a quick video to talk about just my, how I started out with these Criterion Collection films. I hope everyone has a great week. I really appreciate everyone being here today. And again, thanks for watching and subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate that. And I hope everyone has a great week. And I sincerely hope everyone is safe and well. And I'll talk to you soon. Oh, Jared, I have seen Stop Making Sense too, by the way. I'm a big fan of that movie and Jonathan Demme in general. So Criterion's $100. Yeah, I think it's like $10 a month or something like that. But anyway, thanks everyone. Great